Thank you all so much for joining us for making the most of your Circle website. We will go ahead and get started. I'm actually going to start our presentation in the Circle and show you a couple easy ways for you to access your chapter website if you haven't been there before. From the Circle, which is probably the path that a lot of your members are taking to come to your chapter website, once you are signed in, if you click on Groups and then My Groups from the purple toolbar, it will automatically display your chapter. If you're a member of multiple chapters, they will all be listed here as well for you to click on, as well as the All Chapter Officers Work Group for chapter leaders and your Regional Officer Connect group for the leaders in your region. You can also go directly to the site by typing in your chapter name followed by .nursingsociety.org. So if I wanted to open up the MooZeta website, I could simply type in moozeta.nursingsociety.org. There is no www, and we don't use the word chapter or at large in the link itself. So I'm just going to spend a little bit of time today kind of going through the basic functions that will allow you to make the most of the site without spending too much time and energy on your behalf. I know that you're all already very busy, so hopefully if you're able to just make a few small changes, they can still have a large impact for the chapter. The very first things that I wanted to point out, you'll notice that, one second. You'll notice that the template is the same for every chapter, so it has the green toolbar up at the top of the page. This cannot be changed by your chapter. There is only one chapter template. It is branded appropriately so that members know that they are on a chapter website versus the Circle or the STTI website. You'll also notice 5 purple buttons off to the right-hand side. These are here so that your members can come to your chapter website first and foremost for anything related to their STTI membership. So even if they need to renew or if they need more information on how to join the organization, all of that can be located within these purple buttons. You'll also notice that there is a link to the chapter's leaders. This is everybody that we have listed for your chapter within the management system. So if you notice somebody missing from this list, they will have to be added to the officer and committee chair report within the management system in order to display here. Everybody but your delegates will appear on this page. So one of the first things that I recommend before you really start interacting on the site is to update your profile. So you'll notice it's always located in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. This is particularly important for chapter leaders because you do have that chapter leaders page. So members will be probably reaching out to you, maybe sending you questions, wanting to interact with you. So it's nice if your profile is updated. They can see what you look like. They can see within your bio what position you're serving in. So all of that contact information is up to date as well. All of that can be found on your profile. You will not be able to update someone else's profile for them. So if you encourage other chapter leaders to update their profiles, they will need to be signed in order for that to happen. So you won't be able to edit the page in any way to update somebody else's information. Going back to our home page, immediately under those 5 purple buttons on the right-hand side is a box where you can put in some chapter news. Because this is a relatively narrow area, I recommend making sure that the information is very short, you know, a paragraph or less, just a couple of sentences. People don't like to scroll to read, especially on a computer screen. So your most important announcements can go here and be rotated probably on a monthly basis would be my recommendation. So this does include a timestamp. So if I put in a test blurb here to show you what that looks like, I've put in my title, my text. This particular entry has a link, also known as a URL. You also have a box called URL text where you can put information that will hyperlink the text to the URL that you have provided. So you could say, learn more, something of that nature. So you can see that posted here on the right-hand side. Again, it does have a timestamp. Even if I hit the edit button and make changes to the text, when I save it, it still keeps my original timestamp. So if there's something that you want to permanently be in your chapter news, maybe it's a social media link or a direct link to volunteer opportunities that you have open for the chapter, you will want to periodically delete that information and post it again. People can draw unfair conclusions if they see, you know, this hasn't been updated for a year, so then there must not be anything for the site on the site for me, when that's usually not true. So just keep an eye on your news entries to make sure that those are updated and current every month or so that visitors to the site can see that you are active. So I will go ahead and delete that for this chapter. Scrolling down the page a little bit, you can see there is also upcoming events. This is for your chapter specifically. So you can put in any dates of importance for the chapter here. Even if you don't have an actual event taking place, maybe you just want to encourage members to celebrate your chapter anniversary in some way, or just to know when your anniversary date is, or if you have an application deadline. Obviously, actual events that are taking place are another good example here. I am flip over to another website to show you some of the upcoming events that they have for their chapter here. They've already entered in several all the way through October, which is great because as a visitor of the site, I can see everything that's coming up and those dates and times. And I can see that this chapter is active and they have a lot going on just because I'm glancing at the event calendar. I believe that 5 is the default number that will display here. So it won't, if you put in 10 events, it's not going to show all 10 of them there. It will just show a preview of, I believe it's 5 of them, but you can see all of the events by coming up to the green navigation and clicking on the calendar. So if you wanted to put in 10 events for the next year and take this hyperlink from the top of the page and send that in an email to your members to say, to see all of our upcoming events, please visit us here. So this is one place, again, you can come to update this information and your members can have it all in one location. They start to get used to coming to your site as a place of knowledge of where they can find out what's happening at the chapter. The nice thing is that there is an international events calendar already listed for you, so you don't have to worry about putting convention or Congress or things of that nature onto your chapter calendar. They will already be displayed on your homepage. Because these are, it will list all of the international events, we try to only put 4 or 5 at a time so that your website isn't overloaded with international events. So after this next SNAP session takes place about the volunteer system, we'll add another event onto the calendar so that your members have plenty of advance notice about international level webcasts and events of importance. All right, I'm going to skip the discussions for now. Right now, I just want to tell you more about some of the editing components, and then we'll switch over to talk about engagement components available through your website. So we've updated the chapter news and added upcoming events. The next area that I wanted to show you is this box on the left-hand side. You can see in this particular instance it says welcome to the Museta website, and there is a picture of their members there. This is called the chapter welcome message, and it is one of the only pieces of the site that does require you to go back behind the scenes, which can be a little bit intimidating because there is more information than you will ever need back behind the scenes. So this is something that I would only update maybe quarterly to put at least something specific to your chapter in that area, maybe something that you really want to call attention to, such as an upcoming event, a chapter-specific photo, induction, things of that nature to give it more of a personal feel. To change this information, we will be using the black navigation on the left-hand side. As I mentioned, luckily you don't have to use this too often. The very first button that we have availability to is edit this page. And you can see it is very bright orange, and there are all kinds of buttons and places to click around. All that we need to do under this active content here, the very first item that we are able to click on is called the welcome message. And when you double click on it, it will open up that content area of the site. All you have to do is scroll down all the way to the bottom of the page to this white box. You can see here there is a full toolbar, so you can add in text as needed. You can make it bold or unbold. We can do hyperlinks. You can insert images using the image manager. You can put in media, so if you needed to put in a video, all of this is managed from this toolbar here. Once you have made your changes, hit save and return to site. It will show you how it is going to appear on the home page. This is something that I like to do every couple minutes personally because I don't want to invest too much time making changes if it's, the photo is way too big or if the text doesn't make sense there. So I just like to hit save and return to site every so often so I can see what it's going to look like. And I can realize, okay, this is gibberish text. I don't actually want that on here. I can go back in to edit this page, select the welcome message, scroll down to the bottom, make that change, and hit save and return to site. So those are just some of the basic additions to the site that you can make that already are going to spruce it up. We have personal information that's specific to the chapter within the news and the events and the welcome message. So now you can get into the components of the site that are more about engaging your members. So this homepage is open access, meaning that non-members can see it. So you can use the link to recruit members to show them, here's what we're working on, here's what we do. Anytime you're talking about actual engagement though, that's going to be members only. So this is a members only benefit for the active members of your chapter. Just to tell you a little bit more about what's available to members, there is a directory of your chapter's members if you click on the Members tab from the green toolbar. So this is a relatively small chapter, As a chapter leader, you might want to browse through, see who your active members are. You can send them a personal message through here. You can also send a contact request. It's kind of similar to a friend request on social media, but that person gets an email letting them know that you would like to connect with them. If they don't know who you are, they'll probably view your profile, see that you're a chapter leader, and hopefully become more interested in what's happening on your chapter website. There is also a resource library within the green toolbar as well. This will either be called resources, it might be called library. I've seen some chapters call it chapter documents, but this is something that is available to your chapter to put whatever kind of information that you would like on the site. Members can also add to the library. So if you're asking them to share presentations that they've given, maybe a journal article that they read that they want to share with others, photos from events. You can put your chapter newsletters here, your bylaws, your meeting minutes, applications, seen virtual poster presentations put on here. Our virtual chapter does post all of their programs here within the library, so that members who weren't able to attend can see and view that information. Anything that you would like can be uploaded to this library here. And then the other large engagement opportunities that you have as a chapter are the volunteer pages, which are also on the green toolbar here. When you click on volunteer, if you wanted more information, there is an about page. I'll let that load. There are also open opportunities that your members can browse through. And your chapter has the opportunity to set up volunteer opportunities that are specific to your chapter. I'm actually going to open up a chapter website to show you some of their volunteer opportunities and what those look like. And Tracy, I'm going to hold on to your question until the end. It's a good one, so I will loop back around to it. To access and add volunteer opportunities to your chapter site for members to apply for, we're going to be clicking on the settings button in the upper right-hand corner of the site, and then you'll see volunteer and manage opportunities. So this particular chapter here has set up 5 different volunteer opportunities. These are all committee positions that they would like to be filled in the next couple of weeks here. What's nice is it allows you to set the opportunity up. You can issue invitations, you can send thank you messages, you can send acceptance letters, and all of that is handled through this system here. It will also send you an email whenever you have an application waiting. So we can see here they have one application awaiting approval. This is where their administrative person for that particular opportunity can come in and view the application and either accept or reject that application to assign them to that particular committee. So for your chapter leader positions, all of your committee positions, any one-time opportunities, maybe you have an event coming up and you need people to sit at the table or to hand out name tags or to greet people at the door. All of that should be set up through here because then we can recognize those volunteers because internationally we don't always know who is volunteering at the chapter level. And some people are very engaged and active within the chapter, maybe not necessarily at the region or international level, so it's nice to be able to recognize the work and the time that they are putting in. It's also easier for you to collect applications and information about your volunteers. It shows members, here are all of the great things that are coming up. You know, maybe I want to meet some new people. I'm new to the area, and I'll volunteer at an upcoming event that I was planning on going to anyway. To create a new one, you'll simply click on the Create Opportunity button. And it will walk you through each page. First, you'll fill in all of the details about this particular volunteer opportunity. You'll build the application that you want. You can issue invitations to members. It will tell them, hey, we saw this opportunity that we think you might be interested. Here's where you go for more information. And you can even add people specifically. So if you already know someone who wants to serve on a particular committee and they have told you, yes, I am willing to serve, go ahead and add me to it. You can actually assign them to a volunteer opportunity and they won't have to apply. We do have a video available that walks through all of these steps specifically to make sure that you are able to set this up completely. Again, when you click on Settings and Manage Opportunities, that's where you'll see all of them listed and be able to create a new opportunity from there. All right, continuing through our engagement component, one of the biggest benefits of the site is you do have the ability to generate emails out to your active members. You have two different portals to do so. One is the discussion forum, which you'll notice on the home page itself in the bottom left corner. Anything that you post here is emailed to all of your active members based on their subscription. The default that we automatically assign to everybody is a daily digest, so they receive it at the end of the day. Most people then see it the following day. They can change it to real time, but most people leave it as the daily digest. You can also send an email immediately by clicking on your settings button again and then email community members. So I'm going to pause just for a second so I can talk about each of those and kind of what are the pros and cons. Starting with our email component. As I mentioned, this is sent immediately. It does look just like an email that you would send from your Outlook or from your Yahoo email account. It looks like a personal email from you to that member. No special formatting can be done. It's just plain text, so you won't be able to make it look as nice as you'd like. It's meant to be more, if your concern is, I need to get this out right now, I can't wait for it to deliver at the end of the day, then you can use this functionality. Replies are sent privately to the chapter leader who sent the message. So if Jody is signed in and she hits the email community members button, all of the replies are going to come to her personally at her email address. What's nice about this is it does have an unsubscribe button at the bottom of it, which means your chapter is compliant with spam laws, because if members click that and say, I don't want to hear from you, and there is no requirement that they have to get emails from the chapter, then you're not going to still be emailing them. You can know that someone has unsubscribed and you're not harassing them, if you will, so you are spam compliant. The same is true for the discussion forum. It also has an unsubscribe feature. So again, people can say, I don't want to hear from you in this way, and that is completely up to them, and then you can know that you're not violating any spam laws by continuing to communicate with someone who has said that they don't want to be communicated with. The nice thing about the discussions is it does include a formatting toolbar. So you can bold, you can italicize, you can put in hyperlinks, you can put in extra spacing, images, things of that nature, and replies are posted publicly for all members to join in the conversation. So there might be some things that really only warrant an email. It's very informational, very dry, meet us at this time and place. Whereas a discussion, you can actually have a conversation with other members and give them a place to post questions and have a conversation with each other. So I've seen some chapters posting about, hey, we have this event coming up in a couple of weeks. Don't forget that we have this discussion forum. If there are events that you'd be interested in seeing, or what did you think about this event after the fact, they can share that information and it's posted publicly for everybody to see. But both of these are available to your chapter now. Hopefully you're able to take advantage of them so you know you're communicating with your active members on a frequent basis. And to me, I think that this is one of the greatest assets of the site because you don't have to pay for it. It is spam compliant and your members will still hear from you. Are there any questions about any of those features so far? All right. I did want to show you where your resources are located. So some of the videos that we've referenced already and just documents that you can print out about using your website is available in the All Chapter Officers work group. So as I mentioned, when you're signed into the circle and you click on groups and then my groups from the purple toolbar, and then you select All Chapter Officers work group, my first recommendation will always be to check out the announcements, see what is new. You can see that one was just added yesterday. The two items that will always be here for you to click on are the consultation request form, which allows you to meet one-on-one with STTI staff. So if there's more advanced editing you'd like to do with the site, it may be easier just to sit down and share screens and go over, okay, with my chapter specifically, here's what I'm seeing, here's what I'm not seeing, or here's what I want to achieve, and make that happen and make that possible. You can do this with any chapter related topic. So if you'd like to get some help with strategic planning or recruitment, retention, anything, you can meet one-on-one with staff. So all you have to do is submit this form with 3 dates and times at least 1 week into the future that work for you and whoever else you're inviting to the meeting. Once you submit it, it will be sent to the appropriate staff person for you to connect with. And then there will always be a link to the management system. So as I mentioned, if you need to update your chapter officers listed on your chapter website, that's done within the management system. This is what gives them administrative access over your website. So if you have someone who's serving in a publicity capacity, but they don't have the ability to edit the site, You might want to check who is listed as a chapter leader to make sure that they actually do have access. I did have a question that was sent in. If you want someone who's serving as a chapter admin, they are a non-member, but they are serving in an administrative position, you can email chapter services, which is chapserv@stti.org, and I'll also type that into the chat log, with the name, email address, mailing address, and telephone number for that individual, and that they will be serving as an administrator for your chapter so that our chapter services team can get them added to our database and assigned to your chapter appropriately. I just put that email address into our chat box. So the thought was, anytime you need something related to your chapter and your chapter leader role, always come to the All Chapter Officers work group first, and then you can get to where you need to go from here. So every single resource, every recording, document that you need as a chapter leader is located here. There is no longer anything resource-wise on the STTI website. So whenever you're looking for something, come to the All Chapter Officers work group. Most of what you need is going to be in the library, which is the third tab near the top of the page. You can see that there are 400 documents in this area here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So if it's easier for you to search for it, you can use this search bar immediately above the word folders to find your item. Otherwise, you're going to be looking through these 8 folders along the left-hand side. So if you need help with the bylaws, when the bylaws form opens next year, if you have questions about the chapter annual report, which is due on August 2nd, this is where you can come and find information about that. A lot of what you will need is in the by position resources folder. Especially if you are in a bylaws required position such as counselor, for example. The bylaws do require the counselor to be responsible for the induction, so all of the induction information is under the counselors folder. Everything for the website is in the webmasters folder. So this is where we'll post today's presentation. This is where you can come watch tutorials on how to edit the site. There are some printable resources. We get into some of the more advanced components as well. All of that can be found within the webmasters folder. And then if you click on the events tab, any deadlines, webcasts coming up will be listed here as well. You do also receive leader lines, which includes this information specific to your position, but maybe you're helping someone out, maybe you have to fill in as the treasurer for a couple of weeks or help them out with something, and you need to know what is coming up related to the treasurer's role. We can see those webcasts listed here. We can see all of the deadlines and dates of importance for your chapter leadership listed here. I did get a question about volunteering. Let me go back to my question log here. Who has access to review applications for the chapter volunteer opportunities? So if we go back to our chapter website that had several listed there, any chapter leader can come to this page when they click on settings and manage the opportunities, and they will see what you see here on the screen. But the person who is listed as the contact person actually gets an email when there's an application. So let me go to one of these chapter opportunities to show you. So for the welcoming committee, Beverly Stewart is listed as the contact person, so anytime someone applies for this position, Beverly gets an email telling her that there is an application that needs review. But any chapter leader would have the ability to review it if Beverly were out of town for a couple of weeks and needed some help. But you didn't want to change the contact person. Any chapter leader could go in and manage those opportunities to approve that application. So again, all chapter leaders can come to this page to make those changes, but only the contact person actually receives an email about it. Great question. Are there any other questions about just these simple changes on your chapter website or the All Chapter Officers work group? I will go ahead and end our recording. Again, this will be posted in the All Chapter Officers work group in the Webmasters folder.